Omi o, omi oko, omi o, emi oko, aheriwa, wọ́n para wa o, emi oko. Komurado, daro. Agrado, daro. Let me stop there and go to say that good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to everybody, because it doesn't matter where you are at right now in the world. Somebody is eating breakfast, somebody's eating lunch, somebody's eating dinner, somebody's eating late night snacks somewhere, someplace. So, having said that, I'm going to try and make it clear today that my submission for today's podcast is about the fact that I am recording at the same time. I am also doing preparation for a future podcast. And this is the third and the last leg to get our software engineering company off the ground. I never thought that there is what you call the requirement phase, system analysis phase and design, the programming phase, which is decoding, the testing, the deployment, and the maintenance. Those are the life cycle of every project. But this happened to be the deployment angle of it. And it's not everything, as I find out, it's going to be sitting on what you call the foundation, library, and the repository of the project. How I wish I could bypass this angle, because at the point where I have done 2 years of putting a lot of my time into it, it did come out to be a 2-year where I let myself go because I was putting all my eggs in one basket. So at the time of deployment, I was now getting faced with what? Eviction out of my place of stay, and happened to run out of work. So what I did was that I kept pushing it forward by spending all the time when I was out of work. Instead of going to go look for work, I put all my eggs in one basket. So for the past 6 weeks, I've been running around trying to get a foothold to get it off the ground. I knew I was going to be able to get it off the ground because there are money you got to pay here, money you got to pay there. For example, I just spoke with my Amazon book writer who's supposed to do the final stage of the front page, back page, the copyright. That's going to cost like $1,500 to be able to do that. There's no way you can bypass that. So what I told him was that I'm not going to worry about it until when I get my income tax, then I will then come back to you, because first of all, I don't have the money. I wish I could have somebody coming from out of nowhere and giving me some money. But today's summation is really not in that context of what I just talked about now. It's really about what I call the fact that I am now in a political realm of life and life itself. And by that, I mean that there is about 280 days more of this cycle in the United States of the political presidential nominations process, and then the final stage of after they already found their nominee, then they will then spring forward and start doing what you call the actual the actual election for the cycle, where Jerobi is going to be going head on with Blowhard. As much as I can, I'm using a lot of character moment in describing the character, because I've been writing a book. I'll be writing, my second book is going to come out, let's assume, in this fair of things. But today, summation, and you have one of my principal who is now late. His name is John McCain, late Senator John McCain. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from my brethren, the United States people of African descent, who are the sons and daughters of the soil. They're going to flag me on the fact that he didn't even vote for the MLK, what do you call it, birthday, stuff like that. But using the theory of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's a very dumb theology, but it works because he was the only one that saved the Obamacare insurance, that the healthcare insurance. He saved it by going up against Blowhard, and the way he saved it was to vote against him, because Blowhard has really, when he came out of nowhere, anybody, he was pretty much what he's doing today. Why he should not even, what should I allow him to get to the White House in the long run is what he's doing there. He just went off on him. He said, if you got captured, then you're not a hero. But how which himself went into Vietnam, because during the time of his Vietnam, they were able to win him out of it. But the only thing I'm talking, when I bring McCain up, the only quote I really have about him that I'm really big at before he died was that he said, you don't stay in this life. Life is short. And that goes into my upstairs, and I'll continue to quote him on that. Then let me quickly go back to the second phase of my podcast. All this time in the past 6 weeks, when I've been deploying my YouTube channel up there, I did find out that there was no article I was able to read out there that perpetuated a stigma of a woman who was able to represent the woman sphere. She was the only one, Meghan McCain, that was able to represent it, because she now has her own production company, and she has a podcast. Meghan McCain has just joined the chart, and I'm going to try and download. Probably going to be my first podcast that I'm going to ever listen to. The reason I'm bringing her up is because she has now told the whole world that she is not really happy with the state of the political realm of where women do stand as we speak. She has 2 daughters, and then she has a podcast that she started. So what I mean, the podcast is going to be speaking with light mind on the issue of speaking out as a woman. I think that was her last insinuation in the article that I read, speaking out as a woman. And I personally, I'm very glad she said that, because a lot of women has not spoken out, because they don't speak out because they believe in these lies that they have been told. They believe in this light that they have been told by the epitomizers, that you as a woman, you are supposed to be the milk of human kindness, and you raise a child because it comes out of your womb. The womb, then they perpetuated the guys as being the one who was going to go fetch what you call bring the bacon home by going out there to go and start bringing out the food back home. So that it was fine and dandy until we find out that after they've made that bed and everybody started lying on it, then they then flipped the coins and started talking behind women's back. They were talking behind their back because when you come to the omnipotent, omnipresence, omniscience, it was women that was occupying that Olympian height. And it's a representation of Erede Nokboko, Yeo. So I'm going off the intendium, and you may have captured this over and again. But what the point I'm making today is that irrespective of the fact that Megan has started her own podcast, I am going to try and come across as a journalist. Because as I said, you guys are going to give me a flag and say that I'm bringing people up she's privileged. She's privileged to have been the daughter of a late senator. And probably senator himself, the late senator probably has privilege to be the privilege too. That privilege came